So I'm Annabelle Rushton and I'm the Visitor Experience Manager here at RSPB Leighton Moss and Morecambe Bay Nature Reserve. The starlings are a red listed species here in the UK, so of the most sort of highest level of conservation concern. We've seen an 80% decline. We've lost about 50 million breeding starlings since the 1960s. They actually have suffered some quite serious declines, and there's a number of reasons as to why that might be. Loss of traditional roosting sites like reed beds and places to nest have affected them, and then also the use of chemicals in both agriculture and in people's gardens can have quite a negative impact on their ability to find food. There's lots of even little things that people can do at home to help starlings. So putting up starling nest boxes, because they have lost a lot of their traditional nesting sites, and both positive and negative that just one garden can have. If you remove something, it can have a knock-on effect, but equally it just shows the power of, if you plant some trees or you put out some bird food or you put up some nest boxes, how much difference that one garden can make. Starling murmurations are like one of the UK's top wildlife attractions, and they're just awesome, aren't they? It's jaw-dropping when you see them all coming in and the wind picks up and they start swirling around. It's like they're dancing across the sky. It really is amazing. We have starlings that live in the UK. They're resident here all year round, but in the autumn they're joined en masse by continental starlings. They come from their breeding grounds in northern and central Europe, places like Scandinavia, and they come here because the weather, in theory, is milder here than it is over where they've come from. So to spend the colder months here, a bit of shelter and easier to find food. Here at Leighton Moss, we usually expect them to arrive at the end of October, beginning of November, and they often then stay through till about the new year. But in very cold years, when we've had it completely frozen here in the reed bed, they've been known to stay through till February, March time. And starling murmurations further south than here, places like Ham Wall in Somerset, that's certainly true, that January, February, March are the best times to see them. So depending on the winter, it'll be Christmas time, or they'll stay later if it's very cold. The reason that they kind of wheel around and do this spectacular dance before they come into roost is to just join everyone together to give them that safety in numbers. So they'll traditionally like to use sites like reed bed because of that safety thing. So once they come down onto the reed bed floor to roost, foxes and weasels and that sort of thing, they're unlikely to come and predate them in the reed bed just because of the volume of water keeps them safe. So they traditionally like to roost in reed beds. Obviously, over the decades, as reed beds unfortunately become quite scarce as a habitat now, agriculture and development and that sort of thing means that we've lost a lot of them. They've turned to more sort of man-made equivalents, so bridges and piers are a common place for them to roost. You get them on Blackpool Pier, Brighton Pier, Aberystwyth Pier, and bridges because of that same, if the sea is underneath them, that body of water means that they're quite protected, and it's very sheltered as well once they're down there on the reed bed floor. And got reeds to cling onto, somewhere to perch. It's quite safe and sheltered for them. They've got quite a lot that's after them, it has to be said, but mainly it's birds of prey. So when they're coming in the huge flocks in the murmurations, it's predominantly things like sparrowhawks and peregrine falcons. Here at Leighton Moss, the marsh harriers will sometimes get involved, but we also know that the barn owls that roost locally come at dusk, hunting over the reed bed once the starlings have actually come in to roost, and it's one of the main food sources to keep the barn owls going through the colder months. When they all go up together in the mornings, it's usually sort of first lights, they all go up together, but then they'll split up and disperse to local towns, local villages where they can find food, and also, as I say, on fields feeding during the day, on the leather jackets, which are the young of daddy longlegs. And then as the light starts to go of an evening, they'll come across in their small groups and collect together here. The more you can enthuse people and get them interested in protecting places like this and being interested in what happens to the environment affecting our wildlife, the better future it has. Even a small number, if you get 200 or 300 come in and doing a mini murmuration in your neighbourhood, it's quite something really, isn't it? I think it's a privilege to have them here, certainly.